Hello, welcome from Ecosich. We will be presenting information about famous figures from around the world. What kind of famous figures, you ask? These are individuals who, for centuries and even millennia, have managed to unite and captivate the hearts of humanity. For example, we will cover figures like Muhammad, Jesus Christ, Gautama Buddha, and Confucius, presenting their stories in segmented parts. As a starting point, we will first provide a concise overview of Muhammad. Some might be surprised that Muhammad is presented as the most influential figure in the world, and they may wonder why. Indeed, if we look back at history, he was a figure who achieved monumental success both in matters of faith and governance. From an unremarkable background, he sparked a belief system, became an extraordinarily influential political leader, and even though he passed away over 1,300 years ago, Muhammad's influence remains vast and alive today. Many famous figures were born in politically central regions, culturally advanced areas, or places considered the pinnacle of tradition, conditions that provided a strong foundation for their prominence. However, Muhammad was born in 570 CE in Mecca, a southern Arabian region that, at the time, was not distinguished in literature, arts, or commerce. He became an orphan at the age of 6 and grew up in modest circumstances, barely getting by. According to Islamic tradition, Muhammad was illiterate. At 25, he married a wealthy widow, which brought him financial stability. Yet, until the age of 40, no one could have predicted the extraordinary impact he would later have. Back then, most Arabs followed polytheistic beliefs, worshipping numerous deities. It seems Muhammad may have been influenced by the minority Jewish and Christian communities in Mecca, who spoke of a single, all-powerful God governing the universe. At 40, he claimed to have been chosen by this one true God, through the Archangel Gabriel, to spread the true faith. For the first 3 years, he preached privately to his closest friends and family. Then, around 613 CE, he began addressing the public. As more people gradually embraced his teachings, the leaders of Mecca deemed him a dangerous and unwelcome threat. To escape persecution, he fled in 622 CE from Mecca to Medina, a city 200 miles to the north. This migration, known as the Hijra, marked a turning point in his prophetic career. In Medina, he gained a moderate degree of political authority. In Medina, just as in Mecca, he steadily gathered followers. Over time, his influence grew, and he rose to a king-like status. Within a few years, his following expanded significantly. Between Medina and Mecca, numerous battles were fought. In 630 CE, he returned to Mecca as a conqueror. In a year and a half before his death, various Arab tribes converted to his new faith one after another. By the time of his death in 632 CE, Muhammad had effectively united nearly the entire Arabian Peninsula under his leadership. The Bedouin tribes of Arabia were known as fierce, well-organized warriors, though small in number. Historically, their disunity and internal conflicts led to mutual destruction, leaving them unable to compete with the more powerful, agriculturally advanced empires to their north. However, Muhammad's unification efforts marked a historic shift. United under a fervent belief in one true God, small Arab forces achieved astonishing victories in human history, time and again. To the northeast lay the Persian Sassanid Empire, and to the northwest, the Byzantine Empire, centered in Constantinople. Numerically, the Arabs couldn't match these foes, but fueled by faith, they swiftly conquered Mesopotamia, Syria, and Palestine. By 642 CE, they wrested Egypt from the Byzantines, defeated Persian forces at the Battle of Qadisiyah in 637 CE, and triumphed at Nahevand in 642 CE, two pivotal victories that overshadowed subsequent conquests of Muhammad's closest companions, Abu Bakr and Umar ibn al-Khattab, who succeeded him, continued these grand conquests, ensuring the Arab expansion didn't halt. Arab armies swept across North Africa, reaching the Atlantic coast by 711 CE. Crossing the Strait of Gibraltar, they dominated Visigothic Spain. At one point, Muslim forces advanced so far into central France that Christian Europe feared being overrun. However, in 732 CE, at the famous Battle of Tours, the French halted their advance. In just over a century, inspired by Muhammad's teachings, the Bedouin tribes expanded from India's borders to the Atlantic, an unprecedented feat in human history. Moreover, wherever they went, masses adopted their faith. This victorious legacy didn't remain intact indefinitely. While many continued to embrace Islam, some regions broke free from Arab rule. In Spain, after over 700 years of struggle, Christians reclaimed the peninsula. Similarly, in ancient cradles of civilization like Mesopotamia and Egypt, as well as along North Africa's coast, Arab dominance waned, though the new faith persisted and spread for centuries. Far from its origins, Islam gained millions of adherents in Africa, Central Asia, Pakistan, northern India, and Indonesia, where it even unified a vast archipelago. In India, however, Hindu-Muslim tensions became a significant barrier to unity. Is it difficult to assess Muhammad as history's most influential figure? Like other religions, Islam profoundly shapes its followers' lives. Though Christianity boasts roughly twice as many adherents as Islam, some argue Muhammad surpasses Jesus in influence, a claim worth questioning. Two key reasons stand out. First, Muhammad's role in spreading Islam was far more direct and effective than Jesus's in spreading Christianity. Jesus preached a moral framework that diverged from Judaism, but it was St. Paul who codified much of the New Testament and reconciled it with Jewish roots. Muhammad, however, personally articulated Islam's scriptures and ethics, pioneered its practices, and dictated the Quran, claiming it as divine revelation. Recorded during his lifetime and standardized shortly after his death, the Quran authentically reflects his teachings that, in contrast, Jesus' words weren't precisely preserved. While the Bible holds immense weight for Christians, the Quran's direct link to Muhammad amplifies his influence over Muslims, surpassing the combined impact of Jesus and Paul in Christianity. In terms of religious devotion, Muhammad's sway over humanity rivals Jesus's. Beyond that, unlike Jesus, Muhammad was both a spiritual and societal leader. His role as the driving force behind the Arab conquests marks him as history's most influential political figure. In history, events sometimes unfold without a single mastermind. South America's independence from Spain, for instance, would have occurred without Simón Bolívar. But the Arab conquests defy such logic. Before Muhammad, nothing similar had happened, and without him, there's no reason to believe it would have. One comparison exists. In the 13th century, Genghis Khan drove the Mongols to conquer vast territories, larger than the Arabs. Yet, their empire didn't endure, reverting to its pre-conquest state. The Arab legacy, from Iraq to Morocco, persists as a chain of nations tied by language, history, and culture, not just faith. The Quran, written in Arabic, has kept Arab dialect from diverging too far over 1,300 years. Though Arab nations differ, their underlying unity, evident in collective actions like the 1973-74 oil embargo, stems from Muhammad's foundational influence. His unparalleled success in blending faith and governance cements his place as history's most impactful figure.